Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology and true crime. Today's video is going to review some of the footage from Jordan Henning's trial, and I believe the jury is deliberating. There have been a lot of motions filed, and we will discuss some of those things. And for anybody watching on replay, I will make myself big like this when I give commentary so that hopefully people can skip through if they've already seen some of the testimony. This case is really heartbreaking and it involves two active duty service members. So Ashley Henning was there's no other words around it besides shot and killed in her home by her husband. He has admitted to doing this. There is body cam footage of immediately following. He did make allegations that the marriage was harmful and that he was like he said that he wanted the officer to unalive him, and the children were home during this incident. And I'm not gonna play any of the body cam footage. I am playing some footage from Court TV because they had a, security system, a Nest camera inside the home, and parts of the incident are recorded, and the jury did see, um, all of that because you overhear them having an argument, I think in the basement or on some other level, and then you see her go upstairs and him go running after her. And because he's going to claim that she was harming him and that this was almost self-defense, that he snapped, that his PTSD is what caused all of this. And we will see what the jury decides. His defense would like the jury to find him guilty of a lesser crime. Okay. So after her death, I did also want to mention that Ashley Henning, she was because I think she was a staff sergeant. I might be getting that wrong, but after her death, she was awarded master sergeant rank, and she had been in the army since 2005. She had deployed several times, making tours to Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait. And she had also received a lot of different awards. And I have a link to the article that discusses some of her awards down in the description. Her husband was arrested about 1 mile from their house, and all of this happened on her birthday. And it was it w she had, it was her birthday party. I'm not exactly sure if it was her exact birthday, but they were cleaning up after her birthday party, okay? Alright. Let me know if y'all have questions about this case. This is a very, very sad case. I did find the cross-examination. It wasn't on YouTube, it was on Court TV's page, and so I was able to find that there, and I will play a few clips of that. Thank you. Sergeant First Class. And then she was awarded Master Sergeant, after her death, which will mean her kids will receive benefits. And it's not because her kids would rather have their mother. They would much rather have their mother. But they will likely receive death benefits at that higher grade. Christina, I'm with you. So spoiler alert. I Now he might have PTSD, but he's described by one of the neighbors as an angry, like that when he drinks, he would get in the neighbor's face. And yes, let's say his wife did insult his manhood. It's my understanding that he was prescribed testosterone, and his defense is going to try to say, he was this awesome guy. She was the one that was the problem, and the defense got upset because I guess somebody called the defense attorney like racist online. And what the person might have said, so Uh, the defendant in this case just so happens to be a white male. The victim in this case just so happens to be a black female. And so I think somebody in the comments likely brought up race, to my knowledge. So I'm not aware of anything, but sometimes when Black women are automatically assumed as being aggressive or the aggressor, so sometimes conversations around race and things can come up. Now, and let's say their relationship was toxic, and let's say they used to go at each other verbally, but he did what he did with their children in the home. Like, you hear after the incident, you hear one of the kids crying. And so, like, it was, it's so sad. All right. So I wanted to play a little bit of the opening statements from the prosecution. So let's listen to this. This is opening statements, prosecution.
Storm clouds gathered over the Henning household, and another storm tore through that house that took her life. As soon as her friends were gone, Jordan Henning came in, and you'll see and hear, because this storm too was caught on camera. Surveillance cameras around the house will show you how Jordan Henning raged into the kitchen and begins yelling.
They cut it out. So I think there are some choice words being said.
He screams at her, he yells at her, "You never listen to me, you don't love me." He's berating their son. It gets to the point, you'll see, she yells for the kids to go to their rooms and close their doors. You'll see and hear how one of the children ran next door to the neighbors, and you'll see how the neighbors came to try and intervene and calm him down. And he threatens them.
I wish in that moment that they had called the police. And if, let me make myself big because I said I was going to make myself big during commentary. I wish that, um, because it sounds like the situation was escalating. I'm sure she never thought that he would do what he did. I don't know her personally. I don't know if she ever feared for her life, but if she did, um, I think making sure to connect because she's active duty and he's active duty. And the military will step in if there are allegations of DV. The military has special programs. They will court order, well, not court, but they will order anger management. Because I think it's going to come up. They might have been in couples counseling. I don't know, but there are resources available because this makes the military look really bad. Like this incident involves the active duty husband and the active duty wife. So now the headline is because Court TV has kind of called this the military wife murder trial. Like that's what Court TV has because they always do little titles for their coverage. And so I anytime I talk about these things, I like to share resources because there are resources and supports available when families need them. All right, let's go on ahead and get through more of this opening statement.
And unfortunately, you're going to see, after all of the turmoil, all the threats, you're going to see Ashley Henning sitting in a chair. And Jordan Henning shooting her as she sits there pleading with him to put the gun down. You'll see how she
And once again, the children were home. That just breaks my heart.
tries to get up and run. He follows, stands over her and shoots her. Gets another magazine and comes back and stands over her and executes her. And you'll see how he spits on her body as he walks away. And you'll hear how he does a countdown He tells her, this is going to end in death tonight. And you're going to hear him tell her it's all her fault. Now, I don't know what kind of explanation or excuse one can come up for that. But when you
And he is going to testify in this. Okay, so I'm going to let him finish because then the defense. So his opening was pretty short. It was a pretty short opening, but it was nice and to the point. So I'm gonna let him finish and then the defense.
You've heard all of the evidence and you've seen and heard the video. I'm going to ask you to find Jordan Henning guilty of murder.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. Mr. Green, Mr. Edgar, do you want to open or close the record? You're good. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna fast forward for him to get up there. They're gonna check the volume. All right, let's go. They're going to start out with talking about how he doesn't have a criminal history. And yeah, okay. Okay, I'm trying to get to the good part. Not good, but you know what I mean.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Henning was an outstanding soldier. He served his country honorably, both in the United States and overseas. He placed himself in danger. He served our country and served our country to protect us. Tragically, on this date,
he did not protect his children at minimum because the children were home. Not that it would have been better if that, but like his children will forever have that trauma, forever.
And this is a man, the evidence will show, no criminal record, no brushes with the law, never committed a crime in his life. But on this day, he snapped. He lost it. He went over the edge. He killed his wife in his home. The home had a security system, which he helped install. And so the shooting is on video. The shooting.
All right. So the defense attorney is going to give the rest of the opening. And I've already kind of mentioned he's going to talk about how awesome of us, you know, that he had went to the special training 9 times that sometimes has fatalities and he survived the special training. He's going to talk about how he was deployed once to Kuwait, but ended up in, I think, Afghanistan, I think. And they're going to talk about that. Okay. I wanted to show that because there was a friend that testified. And so this was a neighbor. Jimmy Watts is the neighbor. And the prosecution brought him back to talk about a top 10 list of threats. So let's watch this part together. The prosecution is asking Jimmy Watts these questions. Sorry, the sound it's a little bit louder. Heads up. I don't know how it sounds to you all, but it's coming in a little bit louder for me.
Familiar with the idea of a top 10 list with Mr. Henning?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what you know about that?
It came up on multiple occasions. The idea is that if the world were to come to an end for any number of reasons, whether it's societal collapse or an apocalypse event, that he will be protecting himself and looking out for himself first. And his list was the people that he deemed to be a threat, that or could have supplies that he could use.
Okay. You said it came up several times. Did it come up close in time to June 26th of 2023?
The last time we talked about it was the Saturday before that. We were having to get together. And it came up then.
How did it make you feel talking about this?
I'll sustain it to the extent, maybe a better foundation. I'll sustain it to right now.
Sure. Do you know who all, he has a top 10 list of people he's going to take out. Do you know who the 10 people were?
Not in any particular order. And he didn't discuss specifics, but he hinted to his next door neighbor and my next door neighbor and the neighbor behind me would be on that list in no particular order.
And the other 7 could be anybody.
Yes.
All right. So I think what the state was trying to get at with his list is that he had the potential to be harmful to people around him. That if something happened, he had he had thought about, if something happens, these are the people I'm going to go after to get their resources, which sounds like and maybe I don't know. But so if something happened, what I would do is I would have like my resources prepared. So I would have my bottled water, my canned goods. I wouldn't be thinking, okay, I'm going to go, the people that I need to take out so that I can survive. That's just not the first thing that comes to my mind. Now, military people are trained to think to survive. So a little bit of that. So I know I work with submarines, and some people, like, that's how their brain and their mind works. The fact that he's just talking about this openly, and he's identified neighbors like around his house. That's just an odd conversation. I think it's really Witness. I saw your comment and it made me chuckle. All right. So now I want to get to, there was a family friend that testified. It was actually one of the victim's friends. So let me make this big. It's going to have the court TV sound, but she's going to be right in the middle of her statement.
But during one of our conversations, not this day, but a day before or a prior event, us hanging out, Jordan was talking about his marriage with Ashley. And I told him, I said, well, maybe you and my husband can talk, because me and my husband have been married for 18 years at the time. I said, marriages have problems. You can go talk to my husband. And he said, because he actually got in my face. We were drinking. We were on the back patio. He got in my face. He grabbed in my face like this. And I pushed his hands off me. I said, Jordan, get out of my face. Step back and talk to me. Because like I said, when he's drinking, he's there. He's touchy. He's grabby. He's handsy. So he grabbed my face like this. And he goes, I need you to hear me. And I pushed his hands off me. And I said, Jordan, get off of me. Back up. You can talk to me. And I said, you probably can talk to Brandon about this, because for me, it was like he was a man. He should have been talking to my husband, more talking to my husband, because I was Ashley's friend. And he said, no, I don't. He goes, I respect your opinion. He goes, because your husband's softer than you. He goes, you're more like me. He goes, there's people that are like us. He goes, there's not many of them, but he goes, you're more like me.
That's an odd thing, I think. I think that's odd. Okay. There were a lot of people getting potential vibes that he would puff himself up, that he needed to be the greatest, the best, that he needed to be viewed on top. And then to me, he kind of wants to make himself the victim in the middle of all of this as part of his defense. But we are going to keep listening.
Could I have the same objection?
Okay.
Thank you.
Carry on.
And that led us into a whole conversation about how me and him, and I said, well, people like us, I said, we're just built different because of our life experiences. That's just, we have to learn to be abrasive to a point. And that pretty much led us to, him saying, well, there's just some people who are just made weak. And he goes, you're a female. He goes, not many females are strong. He goes, even a lot of men. He goes, even Jason and Jimmy, because during that conversation that night, which was a previous night, he had talked about his neighbors because they kept coming over to their house, because like I said, we talked about literally everything. We talked about religion that night. We talked about their neighbors because they talked about how the neighbors knew they had marriage problems, but they would always come over when they would see them outside and wouldn't give them space to have their time. We talked about how Jordan felt that there was a lot of people that, that were soft and didn't understand, how to be hard or, what it meant to be hard. And he talked about how the neighbors, were soft, and I was different than neighbors. And he goes, a lot of people like to try to be like us. He goes, but they're not like us. So I think there was a boundary very set early on with me and Jordan from that night forward, from that conversation.
She sounds like I wouldn't mess with her. Like she seems very assertive. She seems like she's going to say what she has to say. And I personally wonder, I don't know if they went in to why he was prescribed testosterone, but I would suspect that there was issues with impotence. And that's what I personally, I'm not that kind of doctor. I don't know exactly why he was prescribed it. He's also going to get on the stand and talk about Ashley grabbing his testicles at times. And that's going to be something that he's going to focus on. Jay, like I want to have a drink with Jamie. Like Jamie, I did kind of sing "Not Like Us" in my, but not. I don't think that's what Kendrick meant. Like I think he's taking it to a whole other level. Saying, "Oh."
Conversation to where when he put his hands on my face and I pushed him off of me and I said, Jordan, don't do that. Because I said, there's just certain lines with me you do not cross. I said, my lines are, you do not F with my husband and you do not F with my kids. And he laughed and he goes, yeah. I said, that to me, you mess with my husband and you mess with my kids. I said, I will gladly rock a jumpsuit and smile in my mugshot if you cross those lines with me. I said, you can come in my house, you can steal my stuff, you can do anything, but don't cross those lines with me. Don't mess with my family. That is important to me. And Jordan laughed and he said, yeah, he goes, I feel similar. He goes, but the difference between me and you is he goes, being military, he goes, I can claim PTSD, and because I take testosterone injections, he goes, I can say I had a rage moment and claim insanity. And I was like, yeah, you actually do have a leg up on me if something ever crazy did happen. So Jordan.
Remember, don't do crimes. Don't do crimes. Don't do crimes. I'm gonna back that up. And she's at regular speed. I don't think we're at normal speed. We are going to back this up because she's gonna say that he told her, and I'm surprised her defense attorney, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I would have tried to object in the middle of some of this because to me, some of her answers, she's I forgot what the question was. I completely forgot what the question was, but she threw in something pretty big there, that he had talked about being able to claim that he was on testosterone and PTSD if he ever did do something. So like, don't do crimes. And okay. I wonder if Bruce Rivers is going to cover this as like a self-snitching.
I can claim PTSD, and because I take testosterone injections, he goes, I can say I had a rage moment and claim insanity. And I was like, yeah, you actually do have a leg up on me if something ever crazy did happen. So Jordan he was just going back to the party. He was just a very abrasive. He was in your face. Like, that's just who he was. He made himself known. But I think there was very early on that respect was known of Jordan. You're not going to come at me. You're not going to cross the line. You're not going to put your hands on me. That's just something we're not going to do. And I think because he's seen I was different than people he probably normally was around. I was definitely different than Ashley. He respected that boundary with me that he didn't respect with others.
So let me ask you about that conversation where he grabbed you by the face. How did that start? How did the conversation start?
That night we were talking. He was bringing up he was talking about their marriage at the point, and he was bringing up how he said, sometimes you just want to give up. And I said, well,
was Ashley there when he was?
Ashley was in the house. Me and Jordan and Brandon were sitting on his back porch, and the reason Ashley had went in.
An objection there. They're going to go to sidebar, but a great moment to pause because
she was fiery, and I guess she went back at the defense too. I do have a link to Carrie. Y'all know I'm bad with names, but I have a link to Carrie's Culture. That might be how you pronounce the channel name. She did a video covering this testimony and some of the back and forth, and so I have that link. I have that linked down in the description. Lisa, I will have to look into that one. I am at a conference later this week, and so I will probably stream on at least Friday night, possibly Thursday and Friday night, but we'll see. I will definitely schedule them, and y'all will see when I'm going live. I already have my microphone and everything packed for all of that, and so yeah, I'll be on hotel Wi-Fi, so the Wi-Fi might be a little slow. So yes, thank you, Carrie Cultures Productions. Yes, I have a link to her video down in the description. All right. And then Lisa, I have to save that case. All right, let's keep it going.
When this conversation about marital problems began, where Mr. Henning had grabbed your face, how did that conversation begin? And was that with just Jordan, or was Ashley present in that conversation as well?
No, Ashley was in the house.
And I think you had said Jordan just brought this up.
Yeah, because like I said, that night we'd had a lot of conversations. Friendship, you talk about everything under the sun. So we talked about religion and stuff and our opposing views and things on that. And then we went into the whole family thing and, he had said, he goes, well, we have issues. He goes, but what if a person just is done and fed up? And I said, well, then you need to have that conversation, like with Ashley. I said that's not a conversation that we need to have with you. That's what a conversation you need to have with her. I said, but the thing is I said, every marriage goes through trials.
And somebody said, what now? And so I think he talked about maybe wanting to end the marriage, but you do that through divorce. If that's your goal, if that's what you want to do, you've had it with your spouse, divorce. You don't do crimes. Don't do crimes. All right. So I have a link to the rest of her testimony down in the description, because I do want for us to watch some of his testimony, because Jordan took the stand. Okay. This is the defendant, and he took the stand. And so I want to cover a little bit of the direct examination by his lawyer and then some of the cross-examination. All right. And let me make myself small. Oh, I never made myself big. Let me see if there's any questions. When did Ashley promote prior to passing? Was she a higher rank than him? They might have been this. I don't know. Her master sergeant was awarded after she died. And I think that was an honor that was given the military. But yeah. All right. Let me go on ahead and play. Let's take this down. Thank y'all for being here. Welcome. I'm Dr. Barry. Here we talk about psychology and true crime.
Affection.
No, no, Ashley, she wasn't. Her love language was acts of service and quality time. And so it was really hard at times for us to connect, um, especially with mine being physical touch. She just, a lot of times, just didn't want to be touched. So we weren't really physically intimate.
So when he says that she didn't like for him to touch her, I would wonder if that happened later in their marriage, if it had always been that way, especially if when he drinks, if he starts putting hands on people, because he's describing this in a way that makes himself look good to me. He's and he's definitely, so he's been incarcerated. I think his bond was set at $1 million. So I do believe he's been incarcerated all of this time. Let me see if I have the date of the incident. I don't have the exact date, but it's my understanding that he was held on $1 million bond. That's what his bond was set at. So I do believe he's been incarcerated. Some people gain weight, some people lose weight. He looks less, because to me, the other picture, um, with him having more weight and muscle on him, he looks. And so I wonder if the state showed pictures of how he looked at that time, because now he looks kind of small. I do think it was in 2023. I think it was, but he looks like small and kind of not fragile, but he looks different now. And I think he was a much bigger guy then. The jury did see video of him, and you can tell how he looks in the video, and it's different from how it is now. And Amanda, like, I'm over here playing my violin. Oh, our love languages don't match, but like oh my gosh, like I just can't. But we're gonna play. We're gonna listen.
What did she say when you did try to touch her that evening?
Get off me.
What happened next?
I took that phone call. Everyone was congregating in the driveway. We were talking about Jessica's wedding that was coming up. And my general had a rule, and I truly believe and followed this, that not business casual isn't the same for everybody. Some people it's jeans, some people it's khakis. It's, suit and tie or suit without a tie.
Oh, the random details. Why are we talking about what you wore? Or it's fine, but okay. We're talking about some random details right now.
And so I was showing her, she was the bride, wanting her permission. Hey, is this okay? And it was pictures of me and Ashley, and just outfits we had worn. I was like, hey, is it okay to wear this kind of stuff to your wedding? Like, because I don't know, it was in another state, so I didn't know what would be allowed or what she preferred. It was her day. And she was like, no, that one's fine. I forget which one she pointed to, but she was like, that one's fine. Everyone starts to get in their car. And I walk over to Ashley, and, we're waving and saying our goodbyes. And I put my hand up on her neck and her shoulder again. And she shrugged me off. She's like, stop touching me. Okay. And that's where you hear her start to go into the house on the video.
And hopefully we all understand, because let's say she was, so they're in the middle of an argument, and I'm not going to play. You can go, there is Ring camera video. Court TV has it. It's all over YouTube. There are videos of their argument, and based on the way they're talking to each other, I wouldn't want, like, I think her setting a boundary of don't touch me, like, that sounds appropriate based on how things were going. And she looked like she was actively trying to get away from him and trying to let things de-escalate. And he was the one that was following her, from what I saw. That's how I perceived it. Okay. And we'll see what the jury decides. And exactly, Amanda, a woman can, even your wife can say, don't touch me. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, oh my gosh. All right. I'm gonna make myself small and we're gonna continue to listen to him.
The events that followed. Um, we go into the house and we start cleaning up. And, I told her, I was like, hey, I just want to, what do you want me to clean up? Like, I just want to do something nice for you. Like, it seemed like you accept I just remember thinking like you accept everybody else's love and gifts and everything else, but like constantly rejecting me. And
Okay. So he was feeling rejected. He was feeling like she wasn't accepting his love. But he was, from what I heard and saw, he was being, and I don't know because he's describing it the way he wants to. I know, Amanda. We're gonna try though. So please wait for cross examination. On cross examination, they are going to, and we'll see how he responds on cross examination too. A lot of built up resentment, like he was mad that maybe their marriage was over. Maybe it should have been. But, like, you don't do crimes.
I asked her, I was like, please let me do this. Let me serve you. She told me just clean something up. And so I go down to the basement. They were taking glasses down to the basement from the bars. We had a lot of stuff, a lot of that stuff. And then I remember hearing her screaming my name. I was just thinking, what did I do? What did I do now? And she was saying about this slip and slide that we had talked about with Carter and the kids earlier that day, that, hey, if you're going to bring it out, we all agreed, me, her, and him, that, hey, if he's going to bring this out, he needs to put it away. She wanted to do it for him, and I wasn't okay with that. Like, no, we agreed on this. Like, this is, his parents were supposed to be united, and I was upset at her for just overriding me. It's just, she overruled me.
She overruled me. So I keep hearing him, like, feeling small, him feeling like he's not getting validated, he's not getting what he needs. That's what I'm hearing.
Everything, it felt like. And so I started yelling for Carter, and he's up in the shower. And he's on a whole other floor. You got Tyler playing his computer, playing his Xbox, and Carter's in the water. And so I'm yelling loud, and yes, I was upset, and I was yelling. And we go outside. Carter, I'm trying to show him, like, hey, this is where I was pointing to the drain spout on this slip and slide because it would collect water in the end of it, and she's out there with us. And that's, I kept telling him, he's like, where is it? Because it's getting dark. And I was like, it's right here.
Okay. He sounds upset as he says it's right here. I gotta speed him up just a little. Just a little. Let's try 1.5. Let's see. I sped it up just a little. We'll see. Maybe 1.25. Okay.
So I was
Sorry.
frustrated. And that's when she grabbed me around my balls and started smacking me. And I started telling her, let go, stop.
I would be interested to see if there were any injuries because he's saying that she, in this incident, that she grabbed him and was slapping him, but I don't know that he had any injuries.
Please, let go. And I'm yelling at her. And she's pulling me from where the slip and slide was set up over to kind of the porch area. And she's pulling me. I went to reach out for the banister, and I didn't grab the banister. I grabbed Carter, and somehow he ended up in between us, and I heard him scream. I had finally gotten hold of her wrist and I pried her off of me. And I restrained her wrist up by her head and I said, stop. And she had told him to go get Jimmy. We're arguing and Jimmy comes over and starts screaming
Remember, Jimmy's the neighbor. So Jimmy's the neighbor that testified the 10 list. So that's Jimmy.
at me, get off of her.
Oh,
And when I finally let up and let go of her wrist and stood up, she shoved me down onto my steps. And I just remember thinking, like,
did Jimmy say that? Did Jimmy see all that? Okay.
dude, you don't even know what's going on. Like, you don't understand even how we got to this point. Like, what are you attacking me for? I wasn't sitting on top of her, hitting her. I wasn't hurting her. I was just holding her wrist down. And when he shoved me down, she told him to run. And I don't know. I just took off after her. Like, I was upset. I was mad. And
Upset and mad, and eventually killed his wife. We are getting very close to that moment. I do want to get some analysis at this point.
Nope, we're going to skip it. So trigger warning, he's going to describe he's going to describe the incident.
just stop. And finally was tapping my leg and I let him go and he was like grabbing my fucking gun. And I don't know, I was scared. I took off as fast as I could upstairs to my room where I had my pistol. And I remember grabbing my pistol and my spare magazine and just thinking like, this is how I'm going to die. Like, my friend is going to kill me. And I ran back downstairs and
Was that what he was thinking? When he goes upstairs to grab what he said he grabbed and the extra, I don't believe him that that's what he was thinking. I think he was thinking this is the day that he's going to do what he did. Those are my own personal thoughts. Yeah. I don't believe him that he was thinking about protecting himself against Jimmy. Yeah, I'll back it up so we can hear that. I'll back that up.
and finally was tapping my leg and I let him go and he was like grabbing my fucking gun. And I don't know, I was scared.
Okay, so maybe so he's saying Jimmy said he was going to go grab his gun, I guess. That might be what okay.
I took off as fast as I could upstairs to my room where I had my pistol. And I remember grabbing my pistol and my spare magazine and just thinking like, this is how I'm going to die. Like, my friend is going to kill me. And I ran back downstairs and, I didn't know where he went. I didn't know if he had left the property. I didn't know. And so I'm outside and I was just mad. I was scared. I don't know. And I just remember seeing him and Chris Becker and Chris's truck pull up and Chris Becker and him coming over and I saw that he had something in his hand and it looked like a gun. And then I don't know. A lot of it's a blur. I was so
Convenient because I don't think he started the incident with her until they all left. I think that's when the incident started with her.
mad and I was just upset. And my wife had just attacked me yet again and I didn't know what else.
I'm going to back it up because he's trying to get emotional, but not a single tear. And it comes off whiny to me. It comes off whiny to me personally. But those are just my thoughts.
A lot of it's a blur. I was so mad and I was just upset. And my wife had just attacked me yet again and I didn't know what else she would do. And my friend was going to kill me over it. I didn't know what was going on. And it was just chaos. And, I just broke. I don't know. Next thing I remember, I'm standing over top of her shooting.
Trying to grab for tissues, but I do not see a thing. And there could be, I'm not in the room, there could be tears, but he looked like he wanted to grab a tissue. I don't think they were there. This emotion feels forced to me personally. I'm not in his shoes. I don't know him like that. We're just having a chat as we watch and talk and react to this. Okay?
It's, I didn't know how I got to that point, and, or what was going on. I didn't know it. I didn't understand how we got there. And so I was just scared. And I don't know. I remember at one point being in my car and then the cop was arresting me and I don't know, it comes in snippets and it's just hard. It's hard to describe because I just don't remember it all. It was so much chaos. I don't know.
Just to back up just a bit, when you said she grabbed your testicles,
We're not, sir. We are not going back to that part of the conversation. we're just not. If you want the full video, that's down in the description. I'm not laughing because any of this is funny. If you are new to my channel, I use dark humor to cope. This is an incredibly sad case. Let me remind us all, the children were in the house. This happened, I think, near in the kitchen, or like this happened. The children were home when this happened. And I think the neighbor that with the female neighbor that we heard from earlier, she's going to say something to the effect of like, she knows what his kids are going through. Like he has no clue what his kids are going through. And so I wonder if they've cut contact. It would not surprise me if the children wanted nothing to do with him. He did this to their mom, and their marriage sounds like it had issues, and it does not sound safe. I do not believe that people should put their hands on each other. We need to have emotional safety. We need to have things that are off limits. I don't believe in degrading people, shaming, blaming, and that's on both sides. And because we saw that with Sarah Boone, where she was the one that was being verbally aggressive. To my knowledge, I don't know that anything came up in hard evidence. So I think he wanted to get up to testify to talk bad about her, and for the jury to be able to get testimony in about all the stuff that he alleges she did to him and his perspective of what happened. But let's watch cross-examination, okay? Because all right. And I have the link to this one down in the description as well. Let's see. Trying to hit play.
You have your rifle round and a gun after you shot her 4 times and she's on.
Okay, so this is cross-examination, and he's being asked about him reloading after pew, like he shot her 4 times and he reloaded. So that's what they're starting with. I don't have captions on this, and this is about 6 minutes. I found this clip over on Court TV. I have the link down in the description.
On the floor. What possible purpose did you have for that?
My purpose for it is to get around back into the chamber, sir.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because he thinks he's slick. He thinks he's smart. So he was asked, why did he reload? And his answer is to get another magazine, to get more bullets into the weapon. Sir, no. You had already, he intentionally reloaded, and then I think he might it gets, because the prosecution describes it like he the word they used is executed her. That's the words that the prosecutor used in his opening. Okay.
You wanted her dead. You wanted to make sure she was dead. You heard the moaning.
Wow. So he is not showing much of a reaction. So his blink rate, it seems about normal. Y'all know I'm not the Dr. G and other people are the behavior, like they do all the body language stuff. But he seems stoic. Like he seems like he's just flat, which is fine. But he's not as emotional as he was when he was giving his narrative that he had probably prepared.
She was gone. That wasn't enough for you. Isn't that right? You wanted her dead that night. What other reason would you fire a gun into this young woman laying on the floor, moaning from the gun bullets that you put in her seconds before? What other purpose other than you wanted her dead? Isn't that what, can we agree on that?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You don't remember doing this?
I don't.
You don't remember shooting this young woman a fit?
But he described it to me, he doesn't describe it like somebody that doesn't remember. So I personally think Sarah Boone does not remember what happened. I think it was probably an alcoholic blackout. I don't think when she says she doesn't remember, I think she legit doesn't. I think she left out some stuff because there was probably an argument earlier in the day. There might be some things that she remembers. When he's saying he doesn't remember, this is my own personal thoughts. I don't know him. I'm just sharing my opinion. Uh, he described a lot of other things in excruciating detail, but this, for some reason, he's saying he doesn't remember. But I think that works better for the narrative he's trying to say that it wasn't murder. He's desperately trying to not be found guilty of murder.
Time after you rifle the bullet into the round, into this chamber, it was done.
No, I don't, sir.
Either you don't remember or you choose not to remember.
I don't remember it.
You didn't have any problem running out after that, pulling the keys out of the drawer, did you?
I don't
Didn't have
know.
any problem with that, did you?
No.
Didn't have a problem after you got the keys going out of the car. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't even remember that.
No, sir.
And driving at a high rate of speed to get out of there. You don't remember that either?
No, sir.
You choose to forget that part. Is that what you've done? You had no problem talking for an hour about all the stuff you all did leading up to it.
question, and you should be able to give an answer for that question.
I apologize.
And also, Judge, you just need to editorial class, which you just did.
So to sustain to the extent, let him answer the question for
I
you.
apologize. I said on your answers. Can't remember how the question. The point I was making is you left in that white sedan after you left her in the kitchen, shot 5 times. Am I right?
Okay.
That's the car they arrested you in. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember driving away at a high rate of speed in that white sedan?
No, sir.
Don't have any memory of that. We're gonna play some video on it.
And it is my understanding that one of the children, at least one of the children, I think, did testify. I did not find, because it's probably odd. I don't know that any of that was recorded or if any of that will ever be released. This happened in Kentucky. I'm not sure. And it would be okay to me if that testimony was never released, but one of the children did testify for the prosecution.
Stop period point. So during this 20 minutes. And just so we help the jury, you all had a party that day, is that right?
We did.
It was Ashley's 37th birthday.
It was.
There were some neighbors who come. I think it's Sabat's, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Friends of Ashley's, yes.
You might speak up a little bit, I know
They're friends of Ashley's. They don't live in the neighborhood, sir.
they don't live in the neighborhood.
Correct.
They were one of the people that came over.
Correct.
And they came over because it was her 37th birthday.
Correct, sir.
Were there others who came to that party?
Yes, there was.
And who were they? Including yourself and your children.
Jimmy Watts and I believe Jason.
Okay, so they're gonna talk about who all was there. That is the gist of, and I have the full link to all of that down in the description. I hope the children are safe. I hope the children have phenomenal therapists that can continue to follow them. I don't know what's going to happen. This is currently being decided by the jury. Let me just Google just to make sure nothing happened while I was live. Um, Jordan Henning. Okay, so no update today. Let me see the daughter. There might have been an article that talked about the daughter's testimony. Because I know the friend Jamie said, "I've seen what those children went through, unlike you, Jordan." Like that's what she said directly to him. There was that fiery cross examination, but with Jamie and the defense. The defense tried to file for the judge to be recused from the case. So once everybody closed and it went to the jury, the the defense filed for the judge to recuse himself because they weren't happy with the rulings. That's my understanding. So that's out there. Um, I did not see the testimony of the psychologist that testified for him. I might have to come back to that. These were the. It's been hard to find the clips. Let me see, Jordan Henning, psychologist. Okay. Oh wow. So that he suffered extreme emotional disturbance. Okay, let's try to watch this real quick. Let's try to watch this.
Back to court we go now.
Let's skip in to Win the Psychologist.
What you reviewed would be inconsistent with what led us to be here. Is that a fair statement?
That would be fair.
Okay. Now, you also reviewed the security videos.
Yes, sir.
That the jury has seen. And I would also inform you that there's been testimony here that that night, he was in a rage and he couldn't even see what was in front of him. Would that be consistent with?
So that's his report of what happened. I don't know because nobody's in his head. Nobody can say for sure what his mental state was. Now, there are assessments, there are things that people do to try to get at understanding the state that the person is in. But after the fact, this is how he's saying it, and that is self-report. So, but there will be defense experts that will say, this is what was reported. This would be consistent with an emotional disturbance. And then there will likely be state experts that rebut it. Let me know in the comments, was there a state psychologist that also testified? I heard that he did couples counseling. I did not hear of any other therapy that came up. I didn't hear it. All right, so let's keep it going.
Extreme emotional disturbance.
It would. It would.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, I think just by definition, just.
And so extreme emotional disturbance, I'm going to make myself big. To my knowledge, I have a big DSM-5 and extreme emotional disturbance is not in there. This might be I'm not sure if this individual is a forensic psychologist because this is the defense that they're trying to use. They're trying to say that the extreme emotional disturbance is what caused him to do the thing and that he didn't have the intent for murder. Like that's what they're trying to say. But so all right, let's listen a little bit more.
That state of being, so enraged, inflamed, that it does impact your rational thinking, your judgment, and so you're not, processing and working in a normal way cognitively.
Are there any other documents that you reviewed to prepare for your testimony today?
again, those military statements, military records, some of the trainings in there, I thought were very, and again, being in the military myself, I can attest to some of the training and how it is intended to work. Reflexively, almost. So in his records, you'll see some training for reflexive fire training, right? And a lot of weapons training. And what that is the way the Army trains or the way the military trains is that they want it to be second nature. They want it to be something you don't have to think about, something that you just do. They train for what they would used to call muscle memory, so that when you're in a high.
But if somebody is feeling, so if there's a service member that is having domestic issues in the home, because that reflexive training, you don't want somebody in combat just reflexively not just doing things without thinking and causing errors and making mistakes. It seemed like this was his intent. My personal thought. Once he was caught, he asked the police to unalive him, which they're not going to do. Um, uh, and he tried to claim that she was harming him. Those were all the statements that he made. And from where I stand and the things I've seen, I wonder if he had the if he um I wonder if he intended for her to die. Like this, to me, it seems like that was his intent in the moment. So, all right. Just my thoughts. I didn't evaluate him. I don't know him. We're just talking.
High stress situation in a place where you can't think rationally, that kicks in, right?
Let me use this example, Doctor, and I'll let you continue. But if I'm in the National Training Center, you're familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
I call it combat school.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're in actual combat, and there's somebody over there shooting at me, I don't really have time to consider, well, I wonder what kind of guy this is.
But nobody was shooting at him, though. Nobody was doing that. That wasn't the situation he was in. She didn't point a weapon at him. She touched his testicles, according to him. I don't know what happened with his testicles. I do not know. I don't know. But okay. We're going to try. We have a few more minutes of this.
How many children he has.
Sure.
Do you have time to do that?
No.
And this is for the reflexive.
Well, yes. So that's where the reflexive comes in. Again, it's training for automaticity or reflexivity, so that you are responding, your body's responding, and again, it's muscle memory. It's like pulling on more procedural memory versus more declarative memory, where you're doing a procedure, you're doing an overlearned act, and for example, in weapons training, you learn. You do hours and hours of drills and things like that, so that so if you have a weapons malfunction, you perform a certain task, you perform sports, right? Which is how you clear a weapons malfunction, and you do it over and over and over again to the point where when something happens, you just kind of go through it and you're not actually thinking about it in a declarative way, in a way that you can describe. You're just kind of procedurally doing it. Kind of like if you're driving a route that you've driven over and over again. Your mind can wander, and you're still going on that route. You don't have to think about it as much or writing about it.
The triggering events that you discussed, well, strike that. Are you aware that Jordan Henning has been at the National Training Center or Combat School 9 separate times?
Yes, I've been told
that. And as you know, the fact that he had been so many times, well, first of all, is that a lot?
It's a lot.
Okay. The fact that he has been so many times, that heightened his reflexivity, as you call it, especially when you perceive a threat.
Yeah. I think the more you do it, the more reflexive it becomes, the more ingrained, the more muscle memory kind of kicks in.
Doctor, again, after we've gone over these documents, tell us again what your opinion was, please.
My opinion was that on that day, that Mr. Henning experienced this extreme emotional disturbance, just based on, again, not a flashpoint, but just kind of a gradual building of stressors and triggers, again, from families, the family stuff that was going on, the alcohol, possible testosterone, the altercation in his backyard, and eventually it led to that disturbance.
Yeah. And Doctor, the materials that you reviewed and you relied on, are those the usual and customary materials that people in your profession rely on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Before cross-examination.
All right, he's talking about what happens with military.
All right, let's see if they have anything for cross. Okay, so it's not on this clip. Okay. So I think the expert came across very knowledgeable, um, and with his training, he could have PTSD, um, uh, and yet because trauma doesn't excuse. So just because somebody has a condition or somebody has an issue, that doesn't mean that they do these things. And if he's having issues with managing his anger, with managing his emotions, if he's feeling rejected, and if he's having all of these emotions, I would not recommend alcohol because alcohol reduces inhibitions. And it sounds like he might have been using alcohol. It sounds like there might have been a lot going on. I do think he was clearly somebody that was brought by the defense to present that part of the narrative. I don't know what his cross examination, because I like it when the experts agree on cross, because you could also agree that even in that emotional state, nobody knows if he like to reload it. So the it jammed, and then to just automatically, because I think he steps away to reload it because all of it is on camera. And so um it's just wow. Y'all can check out Bruce Rivers' new video on Karen Reed. So this is a very difficult case. We are going to see what the jury decides. I might take a look again at sentencing, unless there's something major that happens with the verdict, unless there's something surprising, something like, oh my gosh, then I might cover it. But I appreciate you all. I ended up taking Saturday off, so I normally stream on Tuesdays and Saturdays. This week I have a conference. I'm super excited. I'm going to attend a training with Dr. Romani. I forget the title of it, but I'm going to a training with her. I have a training with Lynn Lyons. She's an anxiety expert, and so I'm going to learn about treating kids and teens with depression and anxiety. And I also signed up for an EMDR certification to start my level 1 for EMDR, and I start that in the fall. So I was waiting to start my EMDR training until I had my I just saw this comment, and because I saw her last year and she was amazing. And so I'm and I got to give her folder because I was working the registration desk last year. And so I got to give her the folder. EMDR is that eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It's a way to reprocess trauma. It's a way to help the brain calm. There are some techniques that some therapists will talk about or use that come out of EMDR, bilateral stimulation. Like there's a lot of cool things that come out of it. But I'm going to start that training in let me see, in I think it's August, September, something like that. And it's a friend of mine that's offering it. She's certified by EMDRIA. That's a national organization that does certifications for EMDR. When I'm looking for an EMDR therapist, I normally go to, um, I believe this is the website. Please, if it's wrong, be careful. But I believe this is the website for EMDR. I cannot wait. I don't even know what Dr. Ramani is talking about. It's probably something with narcissism, or toxic relationships or something. But I'm super excited to attend that. And I will give y'all I'll debrief and talk about some of the things that I'm learning, what I plan to apply to my practice. That might be because it's Friday and Saturday. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'm excited. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see y'all next time. Have a good one. Bye.